Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Tuesday. Let's make it a terrific Tuesday. Why not? 7 minutes after the hour. You're with us early this morning, and we're going to get straight into the politics this morning because there's plenty to talk about. We're going to do that with John Truscott. John Truscott is the president of the Truscott-Rossman Group. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
We're ready to get after it this morning. Ready to talk politics?
I guess so. It's pretty early, but let's go for it.
Donald Trump seems always ready to go for it. Now he is saying that President Barack Obama was a poor student who didn't deserve to be admitted to the Ivy League universities. You know, he's thinking about running for the Republican nomination for president. He offered no proof to his claim, but he said he's going to press the matter. Just as he's pressing the matter of the legitimacy of the president's birth certificate, he says, quote, "I have friends who have smart sons with great marks, great boards, great everything, and they can't get into Harvard. We don't know a thing about this guy. There are a lot of questions that are unanswered about our president." Do you think that Donald Trump, when he throws around firebombs like this, is just doing it to get attention, or can he really sustain a run at the nomination by just taking shots at Obama ceaselessly?
Well, no, I don't think he can get the nomination by just launching pure attacks. But I will say he's probably one of the most brilliant marketers of our day. I mean, you look, everything that he says is broadcast and published everywhere. I mean, I don't know of anybody else in America besides maybe Oprah that can get this kind of attention for just making statements, some which may be legitimate and some may be pretty wild, but he does get the attention. But at some point when you run for president, the people want to know what you're going to do for them. So, you know, I guess if you use kind of a military analogy, what you're trying to do is soften up the opposition at this point so you can come through with the heart attacks and really put something forward that allows you to move forward and be aggressive and stay on offense. Let's
say that Donald Trump called you. I mean, you were Governor Engler's spokesperson for 3 terms. You ran the DeVos campaign. You ran the Hoekstra campaign. Let's say he called you and said, "I got to make a decision here. What should I do? Should I make a run at it or should I not?" And then further, the next question is, if he makes a run at it, okay, fine. If he doesn't, how does he get out of it in a way that preserves this aura that he's built up?
Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head in that he's kind of walking himself into a position where he almost has to run. I've heard from people who know him or know people that know him when he started this whole thing, they said, "Oh, no, he's not going to run. This is all just for the Trump Enterprises publicity, basically." Mm-hmm. And now they're starting to say, you know, he just may be crazy enough to do it and pull it off. So it sounds from people who know him like he's almost talking himself into it. So I really think either he's got some brilliant out strategy, which I wouldn't put past him, or he's pretty close to saying, "I think I can do this thing."
Yeah, but doesn't he destroy his image if he goes in the nomination and doesn't get it or gets drummed out after a couple of primaries? Then what?
Well, here's a guy who's been through a lot of ups and downs. If you've read any of his books, he talks about filing for bankruptcy and begging the banks for more time and different structures and things like that. So, I mean, he has fallen down and gotten back up in a very, very big way. So, you know, I wouldn't put anything past him. I mean, he is probably better than the Barnum and Bailey of our time. I mean, he's getting the attention. Everybody's hanging on every word. Some people love him, some people hate him, but he is generating that type of attention that I don't know if anybody else right now in America can do.
If he wanted an out, if it was all for publicity, is there something that you can imagine that he can say that people around the world would say, "Oh, yeah, I can see why he's not running"?
Well, he could use the typical, "I want to spend more time with my family," you know, that every politician uses when they step down from office. You know, I think he would talk about needing to spend more time focusing on his business and that he has found a candidate. By him being out there doing what he's doing, a candidate has emerged that he can support and get behind, and that's what he's going to do. That would probably be the most graceful way out.
Ooh, that would be a big endorsement, though. I mean,
it sure would be. And I assume it would come with a lot of publicity, with a lot of attention, and give whoever that candidate would be, who I'm assuming would have a political background or some experience in the field, give them a very, very big boost. Now, keep in mind, Iowa and New Hampshire and those primaries are a completely different animal. They sometimes go different ways. It's not necessarily the consensus candidate, so that influences things quite a bit, and I don't know how those primary voters, who tend to be very, very conservative, I don't know how they would react to a Trump endorsement. So that's something that has to be weighed in, or maybe Donald Trump waits until after New Hampshire and Iowa, so you get past that phase, and then they go on to somebody else. But he's making it interesting, if nothing else. It was kind of muddling along, and his involvement, his bomb throwing, and almost weekly statements are making this a very exciting race.
Yeah, I can't imagine him endorsing anyone from my own standpoint, and here's why. If that person loses, it's even worse that they got the Trump approval and they couldn't get it over the line. If he's going to take the hit, he might as well take it for himself, I guess. And you're right. I don't know if he can stand to be out of the spotlight. I got a couple of other candidates here that I want to ask you about. Turns out that Haley Barbour has decided he's not going to be a candidate for president. He made the announcement yesterday. Why didn't that dog hunt?
When you look at how difficult it is to run for president, how much money you have to raise, at this point, the year and a half on the road, he's a very, very good governor. I think he likes that job. I think he's doing a very, very good job at it. And when you look at basically leaving your state in the hands of somebody else, walking away from that commitment that you made to your voters, it's a very, very difficult decision. Not to mention the fact that running for president is the most difficult thing that any politician could ever do. So, when you add all those things up, if you really don't have the fire in the belly, and this isn't something you planned for a long time, it's a pretty difficult task, which makes his decision a pretty logical one.
Yeah, and in his statement, he allows for the fact that it's a 10-year commitment, 10 years of all-consuming effort, meaning the 2 years to get elected, and presumably 8 years after that if you're going to get elected president and then go for the re-elect too. And as you say, he doesn't have the fire in the belly for that. He, too, would be an entertaining candidate, though, if he could have just stayed in there through the primaries, because he's a terrific debater, and he would have added some color to the race.
He's irreverent. He's funny. He's smart. I think he would have made it very exciting, and I think people would have tuned in just to see what he's going to say next.
I know I would have. I think I told you before, I spent a weekend with him and his wife, Marcia, down in Mississippi at the casino playing golf and having some branch water in the evening, and he was a very good storyteller, very fun.
He's a great storyteller, and he's a great guy. I've spent quite a bit of time with him, too.
Yeah.
He's very likable.
Hey, let's
very
go
smart.
See him then and cheer him up.
I like that idea. Okay. When do you want to go?
As soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
John Truscott at the Truscott Group. Thanks for the chat this morning. It's not the Truscott Group anymore, though. It's Truscott Rossman. He's the president, and Kelly Rossman is his partner. And, of course, we'll be seeing lots of them on Mackinac Island for the Detroit Regional Chamber Policy Conference. We'll be broadcasting live from that. We're broadcasting live this morning from the American Metal Roof Studio in the Gillespie Stadium District building.